Hello. Yeah, great. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Uh, so we are delighted to be joined by His Excellency, the Consul General Satish Sivan. It's a real privilege to have you here. You were also present at the signing of the MOU with the Dubai Future Foundation. And it's also a pleasure to have you here, a privilege, Hamad, as a partner organization with us. Looking forward to this conversation. We have about 20 minutes, and I'm going to try and keep this train running on time. I know that we've been a little over in the conversation in the entire event so far. But I'm going to focus firstly on collaborations and global collaborations in the AI realm among countries. Let me set the stage here a little bit. There's probably several people in the audience who are familiar with this, given that we have a knowledgeable AI audience today. Let's talk about the US and India. I'm injecting the US into this conversation because there's a lot of things that happen in the US as an AI leader that are impactful in a collaborative way for the rest of the world. So US and India. The two countries, when Prime Minister Modi recently visited America, he and President Trump outlined the ambition to have a year-end roadmap on AI infrastructure between the two countries. Then there was mention of the trust. You know, previously there was ISET, the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, but now they are talking about the acronym TRUST in the new administration in America, which is Transforming Relations Utilizing Strategic Technologies, right? And AI is a key strategic technology for both countries. When Mr. Modi went to France before that for co-chairing the Global AI Summit there, he talked about building bias-free, open source and inclusive data sets. He talked about using AI as a developmental tool for the Global South and for the BRICS. The UAE is now part of the BRICS as well. And about building out a roadmap for global AI governance. Now, if you talk about the UAE and the United States, Microsoft has a $1.5 billion investment in G42, and that's just the start of what G42 here in the UAE intends to do in terms of building data centers and so forth. I know some of this, by the way, Hamad, is related to Abu Dhabi as well, but I'm sort of broadening it out at a national level because what Dubai does is obviously important to UAE as a whole, and indeed beyond the UAE. In fact, I know that the United States is viewing the UAE as a springboard as regards to AI and AI infrastructure for the Global South, for the GCC and so forth. Then also MGX, which is a $100 billion plus investment fund for global AI infrastructure, where the UAE is working closely with US funds to raise capital for investments into various projects, including Stargate, right? So that's the overall scenario, the overall context in which the US is collaborating with India, with the UAE. Allow me to start with you, Hamad, and if you could please talk a little bit about how these countries can collaborate together to achieve their aims in the AI arena.
First of all, thanks for having me today. It's an absolute pleasure to be a partner with Indiaspora at the Dubai Future Foundation, and where else but the Museum of the Future to have this event. I think between the UAE, India, and the US, I'm sure you've seen here in Dubai, we believe in collaboration more than competition. You can see from how global Dubai is. And so I believe our Deputy CEO mentioned in his opening remarks that on April 21st, for the full week, we are hosting the Dubai AI Week. And that will be not only just any AI event, it will be the AI event where multiple events will take place under that umbrella. That includes, we're bringing in the world together. We're bringing in some of your global CXOs, investors, innovators, government entities, policymakers, and academia to ultimately move the needle when it comes to AI, whether it's opportunities or challenges, and that falls under different buckets. So we have an event called AI Retreat, which is a closed, invite-only kind of roundtable where we bring in some of the most influential individuals to discuss very important topics that are important when it comes to AI, whether it's digital infrastructure or investment or otherwise. And we actually create initiatives that come out of it. Another one is the Dubai AI Assembly, where basically the Museum of the Future and the Emirates Towers Boulevard basically transforms into an experience of installations and workshops and side sessions where we bring in some of the biggest players in terms of big tech and startups, including hopefully startups from the US and India as well, to come and connect and experience a lot of what AI means to different sectors. In addition to that, we also host, in my opinion, one of the most interesting events that we do, first of its kind, something called the Global Prompt Engineering Championship. This event it's a bit of a geeky event, but I love it, where basically you have a lot of people in front of computers, ultimately competing over prompt engineering. Something you probably see maybe in university dorms, but then making it into a real-life experience here with an audience and a judging panel. And interesting enough, actually, the winners would win, so the finalists get a combined 1 million dirhams as a prize, and the majority nationality, let's say, of the winners did come from India. And under that umbrella of a week, we basically had we have a lot of events taking place, not only under the Dubai Future Foundation, but also with our partners at the Dubai International Financial Center. They're hosting the AI Festival. There's another event called The Machines Can See, and there's obviously more events that will take place, not only within corporate, but also with schools and university, amongst others.
Satish, your thoughts about multilateral collaboration involving India and UAE and other countries in the AI space?
Yeah, first of all, congratulations to you and the wonderful Indiaspora team for choosing UAE, for coming here for your Indiaspora for Good in Abu Dhabi, and now for this AI Global Summit in Dubai. Having seen Indiaspora from Washington, DC, I cannot expect anything less for you to put together some outstanding speakers and topics for discussion, topics of relevance. I was struck by the comment, the red pill, blue pill analogy which was given, taking cue from the movie Matrix by the speaker, Mr. Binay, one speaker removed. While I was looking through some data on AI, obviously I'm not an expert on AI. I'm as a layman can get on this topic. So I was trying to understand what is India actually doing. There's a lot of things that is being spoken about in terms of the government's efforts, but actually as an industry, as common people, how have we adopted AI is something which was in my mind. So when I was checking some data, I saw a report by IBM Consultancy, which mentioned that in terms of companies, not in terms of government, in terms of industry adopting or already being aware and actively adopting AI in their work, India was the highest amongst many countries. And when I say many countries, the comparative pool is the G7 and the technologically advanced countries. So about 58% of Indian companies had already adopted or were very well aware of AI. And the number 2 was UAE. And number 3 was USA. And when you ask this question about India, UAE, and USA, I thought that you exactly spoke about the 3 countries which are actually at the forefront of adopting AI. And one other fact which I saw is that AI is not something which is new, right? It's been there, it's as old as computers or as old as internet. But the fact that has brought AI to the forefront is the issue of when ChatGPT was launched in 2022, right? The whole generative AI, which they say. So that's why, and I'm giving this long prelude to your question, is because that's when the government sat up and saw that, okay, what do we do now? This is a problem. Generative AI has to be handled. I wouldn't say regulated, but it has to be handled. How do we ensure that wonderful benefits of this generative AI is available for public, while also guarding ourselves against the downside, the problems that come with it? I think the government of India has been very active in the past couple of years, particularly since 2022, if I can say, in terms of our efforts to collaborate with partners. UAE is a classic example. Even before 2022, in 2018, we already signed an MOU with the UAE on collaborating on AI technologies, looking at possible applications of AI technologies in terms of healthcare, education, agriculture, space technologies. We have already identified several sectors. So we already are talking to our partners like UAE. As you mentioned, with US during the summit this time, there were certain announcements that were made. And we were the partner, the co-host or co-chair of the AI Action Summit with France. So I think India is at the forefront of global collaboration. And one point which we have been putting forth very forcefully is that we need to carry everybody along. It is not just that somebody has technology, is able to take the lead and harness it better, but we need to empower the whole world, the developing world, so that the beneficial aspects of this technology is available for all. How do we do the capacity building? How do we fund them? How do we develop their infrastructure, for example? That is one of the agreements which we signed once again with UAE last year in February when Honorable Prime Minister was here. I know that we had another MOU which looked at creating AI infrastructure in India, improving the data centers, the capacities of data centers in India. So I think with partners like UAE, US, France, other like-minded countries who are looking at the importance of using and deploying AI for the benefit of mankind as a whole, not just particular geographies. I think India is looking at partners, and India is working actively with partners, and I'm glad that we are an active part of this conversation.
Fantastic, thanks. Hamad, I'll turn the conversation to another area now. DeepSeek has been all in the news recently, as no one needs any reminding. What is your view on Dubai specifically, and perhaps the UAE more broadly, utilizing lower cost AI assets to build out AI infrastructure here and to collaborate with them?
I think that's a great question, but maybe before I answer the question, I was going to say, Your Excellency, with such great representation from the Indian business community when it comes to AI, we want that representation at the AI Week. We want to bring in that close collaboration between us. When it comes to, however, your question around DeepSeek, I think Dubai's strategy has always been quite agnostic when it comes to the countries. Dubai's strategy when it comes to AI is focused on AI, good quality, usable, safe AI, regardless of where it comes from, whether it comes from the US or it comes from China or it comes from India. And that's why also our Deputy CEO mentioned quite briefly something that we worked on here in Dubai called the AI Seal. So we have a community of 800 AI companies here in Dubai, and that is the largest in the region. And so what we did to kind of upskill that is to ensure that we create a certain classification and validation process for these AI companies to ensure they are up to a certain par. So similarly to how when you enter into a hotel and you have a 4-star or a 5-star hotel, you also have AI entities that belong to certain categories. So that is something that we recently launched, and we are in the process of basically categorizing and issuing seals to Dubai-based entities that are in the AI sphere. And this falls in line with Dubai's universal blueprint for AI, which ultimately is focused around, one of it is focused around creating a global framework for governance, where Dubai is again a midpoint between East and West and North and South. So we aim to bring the world together, and I think that makes Dubai unique, where people from around the world, entities from around the world come to Dubai to scale up, to connect, and to explore the rest of the world as well through Dubai's capabilities.
Satish, if I can turn to you on an area that requires some balancing, two issues among others that Indiaspora focuses on strongly, which are also, not surprisingly, very important issues in India, are obviously AI and then climate and environment. There's no question that there is the need to invest heavily in data centers for AI, but equally that kind of investment could generate adverse impacts on sustainability and the environment. So how do you think India will balance those two competing priorities?
I think it's a very important point to ponder, because while we create capacities, we should also be mindful of doing it in a sustainable way, right? If you see, again, I'll have to go back to the collaboration that we have with UAE. While we do a lot of things on technology and MOU and AI, which I mentioned in 2018, now in 2024, at the same time during these meetings and interactions, we also focus on sustainability. We do collaborate on green energy. We do collaborate on solar power. We do collaborate on sustainable models of development. So with France, for example, we were co-chairing the AI Action Summit, but you should go back in in 2015 when we jointly launched the International Solar Alliance, for example. So I think with all our partners, we already are quite some distance. We have covered quite some distance in collaborating in new and renewable energy sectors. France is an important partner for us in solar energy, as they were the co-founders of the International Solar Alliance. With US again, and the focus areas once again of AI is also renewable energy. So it's not just that you use AI for something else, you use your AI for sustainable development also. So healthcare, education, green energy, sustainable energy, and space sector, these are the elements which we focus in our partnership with UAE. So what I'm trying to say is that both things move parallelly. Our collaboration on AI in technology, it goes on one track, and whereas we also partner, AI or otherwise, on collaborating on new and renewable energy. So that, I think, we are able to sync these efforts so that one is not at the cost of another.
I can see my colleague there frantically waving the 2-minute sign, so we'll keep the last round brief. I know, Hamad, when you and I were talking about preparing for this conversation, and also based on our Indiaspora's past experiences with the DFF, in signing the MOU and learning more about DFF from Khalfan and others, there's been a lot of conversation about which sectors of the economy Dubai looks at implementing AI in. So can you just talk a little bit about that, briefly about the priority sectors?
I think that's very mean of you, because you gave me 1 minute for the most important question for me. But I'll be very honest with you. I think there's...
Take a couple.
Exactly. I'll be very honest with you. I think this question is music to our ears. When we talk about industries, when we talk about the future, and when we talk about Dubai's capabilities, this is what we do for a living at the Dubai Future Foundation. We aim to future-proof Dubai. And one of the ways we did it is by establishing the Dubai Center for Artificial Intelligence, which ultimately aims to move the needle when it comes to all things AI, whether you talk about governance or policy making or creating real-life use cases, or even moving on into awareness even when it comes to AI. And we've done that through so many different initiatives and projects. So we announced the 1 Million Prompters Initiative, which aims to ultimately equip 1 million individuals with the required literacy when it comes to prompt engineering. And that's 1 million. I know that's not a high number for India or the US, but that's quite a big number for us here in Dubai. Across 3 years. In addition to that, obviously coming at no cost to anybody, you can just log on to 1 million prompters on our website, on our platform, and everyone can access and equip themselves on multiple tools. Another way that we do that, or that we did that, was ultimately what we did is we conducted an accelerator program with our government entities. So what we did is, first we started by creating a use case study with the government entities, and we identified possible use cases across different industries and sectors. Next, what we did is we created the accelerator program and connected these government entities with startups from around the world, which some could be from India as well. And through this connection, we created real-life adoption use cases. Now, these use cases, if I can just share with you some of these great examples that we had. So one of them was, for instance, with Dubai Police. Naturally, calling the police, imagine the largest number of phone calls that the police gets is not on what it should be, but actually on lost and found. The Dubai Police is the largest lost and found department, basically, in Dubai. And I'm sure you've seen all the articles, Dubai finds this, and that's the purpose. But to be honest, that's not efficient use of the police's time. So there was an opportunity there to find AI to actually reduce and make it more efficient, and also reduce human error when it comes to lost and found. Another way was, again, I don't want to mention, but there's a very special occasion where there's a lot of usage of light and festival, but also that also was linked with an increase in fire cases here in Dubai. And what the civil defense team wanted to do is to just, again, equip the residents with the necessary awareness when it comes to best use of fire and safety, for regardless of what occasion. But what they found is that they require to do that in 13 different languages for those who celebrated. And to do that, there was a heavy amount of cost and expense for one campaign, and instead they used AI to cut down the cost of marketing. Another third way, and maybe to link up with the previous speaker that was on stage, when it comes to healthcare, again, a big chunk of time when it comes to doctors here goes into admin. Most of the time when you're with a doctor, the doctor is not looking at you because he's looking at the computer screen, because he's occupied conducting admin. And we equipped the doctors here with AI to reduce the need when it comes to administrative tasks and mundane tasks, and have them have more quality time with the patients. And when it comes to what can you expect in the future, I'd say keep posted. This is Dubai's largest AI event on the week of April 21st. Multiple fronts. There's a lot to expect and a lot to be announced.
Satish, I'll give you the last word in terms of your thoughts on this subject.
My last word I would focus on the positive nature of India-UAE partnership and how it would, it could help in AI. I just want to draw an analogy to the SIPA negotiations that we had. Yes. I think
Dr. Thani again talked about that yesterday in Abu Dhabi.
Because that's a very important model. Because today India-UAE relationship, I would proudly say, becomes a model for global bilateral collaboration. A SIPA agreement which was signed in just 88 days of negotiations and covering 99% of tariff lines, positively promoting bilateral trade, growing from $60 billion to $85 billion within 2 years of signing, and looking at $100 billion of non-oil trade in the current geopolitical scenario globally, is a model for everybody to look at. What I'm trying to draw from that is the way in which we are able to even work on what is generally considered as difficult negotiations. And for something like AI, where a common global good is at stake, I would think that India and UAE and all these sectors and all the elements that has been mentioned, urban development, infrastructure, waste management, healthcare, education, everything that impacts the lives of citizens, both in India, UAE, and wider region. I think India and UAE would be able to collaborate and deliver for all. Going by you were requesting participation in the events. Going by our performance in events like GITEX, and Mr. Gulati is here. He knows the kind of response that Indian startups, Indian tech companies show for GITEX or North Star. So I think I don't have to make any special efforts. I'm sure the best of Indian talent would be here, working for our countries and for the common good. So that's my thought. Thank you.
No, thank you. This has been a great panel, great discussion. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you so much, Hamad. Delighted to have had you both here. I know we are transitioning to a video now that I think MR wanted to introduce.